everybody watching, we all have come from a background in the resource sector. And as David said, this discovery that we've made here it's a chemistry and a technology. And I'll walk you through this presentation. There's not much time here, but please feel free to contact us directly at the company. The company, it's really an incredible opportunity because it's a science and technology company that's linked with two significant resources, one being that of the gold mining sector and the other of the urban mining, and that is printed circuit boards, scrap printed circuit boards. And I'm going to kind of walk you through how we're going to use this new technology that we have to extract the valuable metals from both the e-waste and conventional gold mining. So first of all, you look at the industry challenges within these sectors. Everybody's looking for a clean solution for e-waste recycling. Less than 30% of it's currently being recycled. It just hit 54 million tons a year. So it's the fastest growing waste segment in the world. And there's considerable resources here because inside of these e-waste, these boxes, these TVs, these computers, these phones, there's approximately 3.1 million tons of printed circuit boards. Those circuit boards have an average value of somewhere in the neighborhood of about 40 grams per ton gold, 200 grams per ton silver, 7 grams palladium, and about 20% copper. So the value of these printed circuit boards are in the neighborhood of $3 billion, and yet only 30% of these are being recycled. So that's a pretty significant amount of gold and silver that's being sent into landfills every year. So people are looking for a clean e-waste alternative. All of these printed circuit boards today are going to smelters, yet less than 25% by weight of these printed circuit boards are metallic in nature. The rest are all carbon-based fibers and so on. And so really, when they're burning these boards in the smelters, they are putting off a lot of carbon dioxide emissions, and people are looking for an alternative to that. And the alternative that we have is a hydrometallurgical alternative. And it's funny because all the metals that we're talking about that are contained in these printed circuit boards are produced using hydrometallurgical processes. So if you look at the mining sector, they're predominantly they use cyanide to extract the gold. And the way that they do that is the cyanide actually dissolves the gold into solution, and then they have ways, off-the-shelf technology for taking that gold out of solution and pouring pure gold bars. Ours chemistry does the same thing as cyanide. It will dissolve the gold in solution, and we use the same similar technologies, electroplating, to extract the gold out of solution, or we use ion exchange resins and so on. But the difference is that all of our formulas, the chemistries, the additives in our formulas, are all FDA approved for human consumption. So if you look at the impact that smelting has on the environment, what cyanide and mercury has in mining, you can actually drink our solution. And the other really important aspect of this is that it's recyclable. We reuse our solution over and over and over again. We've used it over 100 times already. Just in the testing that we've done here in the last 6 months, we've produced, let me get my new numbers. Just in testing, we've already produced 600 ounces of gold, 2,000 ounces of silver, 35 ounces of palladium, and over 20 tons of copper. And that testing was pretty significant. It was across the board, 39 different products. So we're very, very confident that in our abilities to extract this on an environmental and economic basis. The point is, we've done all of this and we haven't put one drop down the drain. So we continually reuse the solution. So the two markets we're going after, the e-waste market, 62 billion a year, gold mining sector at 100 billion a year, 180 billion a year. The features of and benefits of our product, I don't have much time here, but it's definitely a disruptive technology. We have limited or no competition, and we have the patents on this as well. So there's a diversification here because of the large diversified target markets, high profit margins. proven technology. We've already established very significant, strong industry relationships to roll this forward. And of course, the patents that we have, and a lot of other trade secrets that we have. And of course, we're an early mover in the sector as well. So here's urban mining. 106 tons of e-waste is generated every 60 seconds. Now, why urban mining versus gold mining? Well, here's a classic example. The current gold produced today, the average grade is about 1.6 grams per ton, worth some $97. The value of the low-grade e-waste, and until 2 years ago, most of it was just going straight to the landfill, exceeds $3,500 a ton. That's the equivalent of 54 grams per ton gold. So what the OEMs, the manufacturers of these telephones and computers are doing now is they want to establish a circular economy whereby we extract those valuable metals, and they can then use them and reuse them continuously, because as everybody knows, silver and gold and copper are infinitely recyclable. So when you look at e-waste, with 100% of all those printed circuit boards going to the smelters, how do we compete? Well, we both provide effective recoveries of that precious metal. We pay the same amount or more than the smelters do. Ours is eco-friendly and sustainable. We're on a 90-day payment term. Smelters are 180 days. We can process whole components, they cannot. We have 89% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, so by us processing the printed circuit boards, it's an effective reduction of 89% of the carbon dioxide that's put out by these smelters. We do provide, third-party assay validation. More importantly, this is a domestic solution. Just in North America alone, you've got some 600 tons of printed circuit boards being scrapped every year, and they're all being shipped overseas. So we can now offer the first true domestic solution for the treatment and recovery of the metals from these printed circuit boards in North America. So this shows a quick cost comparison of the net payable values. So you can see, even with our margins, which are pretty significant, we can still afford to pay more for those printed circuit boards than are currently being offered by smelters. So not only are we greener, cleaner, better terms, but we actually pay more. Here's our target markets, are all of the PCB aggregators and recyclers. And when I say PCB, I mean printed circuit boards. And of course, there's the OEMs and manufacturers as well. The process is it's complex, but it's replicable. And as I said, we've tested over 200 tons of material through it already with very, very, very positive results. This shows you the North American scrap printed circuit board market. And by 2025, they're talking 600,000 tons of printed circuit boards with an average value of $3,500 a ton. We're targeting 10% of that market. And if we're lucky to get 10% of that market's worth some $2.6 billion a year. So 10% of that market would be $250 million in revenue for us. How are we proposing to do that? We would be opening 6 plants across North America. Each plant could produce on the neighborhood of, or process in the neighborhood of 12,000 tons per year, 1,000 tons a month. This is what it looks like if we were able to establish that 10% market penetration. That would be some revenues of $250 million and profits in excess of $50 million. Gold mining applications. The gold mining sector hasn't really changed. The biggest innovation in gold mining happened in 1870 with the introduction of cyanide. And we offer the only credible and economic alternative to cyanide now. There are other chemicals that can dissolve gold in solution, but they're either too expensive, too dirty, they can't be used, or it's too complex. Ours is extremely simple. When we first introduced this, I said, you put it in a bucket and you stir it with a stick. It's really that simple. So the market that we'd be going after in mining would be in the gravity concentrates, flotation concentrates, and now in-situ leaching. We've just done a deal with Bill Sheriff and his group on in-situ leaching. So by injecting our chemistry into the ground, directly into the deposits, you can now effectively dissolve the gold in situ the fluid gets pumped back to the surface and simply goes through an ion exchange resin, strips the gold out of the solution, and then the solution is reused over and over and over again. Some of the original testing that we did on the core, we were seeing some 80% recovery in less than 3 weeks. So this is when I did the presentation at United Nations. This will change the way the world mines gold. You no longer have to go underground. You don't have to go underground to access the deposit. You don't have to mine the deposit. You don't have to set up hundreds of millions of dollars in infrastructure. You don't need tailings dams or tailings ponds. More importantly, there are literally thousands and thousands of small gold deposits right now that are not economic if you had to put up $200 million plant, or they're in environmentally sensitive areas. With the advent of this chemistry, we can unlock the value of even those small deposits. So, as I said, the gold mining benefits were actually less expensive than cyanide, environmentally friendly, low cost in situ leach potential, reduced reduction on smelters, and you can imagine the difference in trying to get a cyanide permit versus using a liquid that you can actually drink. So it really helps in the permitting process, reduces the permitting process. Now, how effective is it? This was done by SGS. This was a blind test. We sent them our formula. They used cyanide. They selected the material that they put into the lixiviants. And you can see that we got almost 100% recovery in 5 hours. And cyanide did the same thing, but it took 32 hours to do it. So not only does it recover as much as cyanide, in some cases more, it's faster, and it works in compromised ores. You can't use cyanide in copper. Well, we use ours in high copper environments. You can't use cyanide in arsenopyrite, arsenic. Ours, we've just tested, I think 7.5 tons of arsenic-based concentrate, and over 96% recoveries in less than 6 hours. So, of course, the environmental advantages. Every mining company out there wants to offer or improve their environmental and sustainability imprints on the environment. So, we reduced landfilling of solid waste. There's significant CO2 emissions reduction. And essentially, what we're offering is the ability to extract these metals on a zero environmental impact basis. This gives you a quick shot of what is in situ leaching. We simply inject our barren solution underground into the ore. It gets taken back to the surface, and the gold is taken out of it. There's our patents. Pretty significant executive team. Lots of gray hair on our executive team. We've all done this before. We've all got solid backgrounds and experience. Solid board of directors, and that's EnviroLeach. And as I said, this little company will change the way the world mines gold. And we have a small market cap. We are effectively a startup. We put $25 million into the development of the process so far, and we're now just starting to reap the benefits of this. And we're getting a lot of attention from some of the larger mining companies and computer manufacturers around the world. Thank you very much.